I'm Katrina, and this is So in Tare, and today we are going to be getting the amendments going for our beds before we get planted in them. So I have here is a bunch of compost that a neighbor gave me. They ordered too much, and so I've had this pile in the middle of my walkway for a little bit now. So I have this. I have some bag soil I'm going to mix in with that just because it has more light properties, fluffy properties. And then I do have some azomite that I'm going to add in. I think that's all I'm going to do. Pretty much all the beds are pretty good nutrition wise, except for I think the one over by Parmesan the Rabbit. I think that one might need a little more, and that might be where I end up pouring, like processing, when I process animals, the bloody water. That might be where I end up pouring that mainly. And so that will give that extra nutrition. So let's get started. I'll show you what I do for basics, and this will be the third video in my getting ready for planting video. Now we covered this when it was raining so that it didn't get washed away, and then also so the nutrition didn't get washed away, but put plastic on it so that it didn't dry out as much. So it's somewhat dry, so we're gonna have to rehydrate that, and I'll do that after it's already in the bed. Yeah, down here is more moist. I ran out of tarps when we were doing this, so it's on a shade cloth. Hey, whatever works, guys. Alright, so I like to mix in a wheelbarrow. If you have another container to mix in, that's good. You can, if you're making a new bed, you can mix this right on the ground. But I just don't want to pick up a whole bunch of wood chips from my pathway, so I am going to mix it in my wheelbarrow. And apologies in advance for the lighting. This is going to be a little bit of a grainy video, sorry, but that's what happens when the sun goes down. This compost is pretty high quality, I think, so I don't know that I'm actually going to add. I think I'm going to save those bags for the front and maybe just add the azomite to this straight. Now, anytime you have clumps like this, I just break them up, and you can do that now or when you're mixing it. Alright, I have a planting mix here. I think I am going to add just a little bit. The benefit of this is it has some things that will make it a little bit more light and fluffy, and it will also be able to hold more moisture. It has a few things in it that does that. Alright, this is azomite. I get it online. I'll put a link in the description. You do not want to be downwind from this when you're putting it in. You don't want to breathe it. It is rock dust, and it adds a lot of things. You're not going to see the benefits of this year. You're going to see the benefits of it next year and the year after. Again, don't breathe this. So I'm actually going to bring you guys in closer. Okay. Hopefully you guys can see this. So I just have the compost, the planting mix, and the azomite in here. You could add blood meal. I will be adding, bloody water when I do the processing of the animals, so that'll come later. So I don't feel I need to buy that. And I just mix this. Kind of go up and down with it. I'm pulling it towards me. You can see there's layers now. I find that this is a better thing for my arms and my wrists than going in like this, because you could do that as well. I'm trying to show this with the light. I think if you do that, you should lift up and then just wiggle it down, and that's gonna mix it more if you prefer to do it that way. But the goal is to have this mixed somewhat evenly. If you don't get it even, that's, things will still grow. But yeah, just a couple different ways of mixing them, so you can see what it does. I'm turning the shovel from side to side. I don't know if that's evident in here. And I also go from side to side. So I'm going to say that's fairly well mixed. I don't see any individual horizons. So this is ready to go on the bed. So you can see here's the bed. We have some water lines right here. We have the chervil that I want to keep. The parsley I want to keep. This will come up. So at this point I can pull this up and it's fine. I do have, I believe that plant might be a, this plant right here, might be a Chinese chive, so I'm going to leave that there and plant around it. But adding the soil is pretty easy to do. Ooh. See if I can light this. Adding the soil is pretty easy to do, and it doesn't need a really thick layer. It just needs, maybe like that much. And so what I generally do is I just put it on top, and then I get the water lines out just by shaking them. I'll show you that. Hopefully I'll be able to show you that. It's dark now. But that is generally what I do. Sometimes I'll pull up the water line and re-put it in, but it just takes a lot more time. So since I know these lines are cleared, and I'll check it again after the soil's in, or after the amendment's in. Yeah, so I already put rabbit poop on this bed earlier in the year. It's already broken down, so because of all the rain. So I don't feel I need to add more to this bed at this time. I might do that. I might mix in rabbit poop to the other one that I'm having, that's a little behind. I can mix it in, or I can just lay it on top. So either way, and it'll be good. So that's why you're not seeing me do it on this bed, because I know for this bed in particular, I did put quite a bit of rabbit manure on here earlier in the year. So here we go. I was able to wrap my little watch light around. Now when I'm doing this, I'm just wiggling the shovel this way then that way, if that makes sense. And the soil is just falling off of it. So you don't need that much of it. And then for now, I'm just gonna set this somewhere on top. All right, let me show you how I do this around an existing plant. So I know there's basically just one plant here. There might be two, but I just go around the outside. And I try and get all the way around the outside of it. Oops. And you can see I covered up some of it, but it's okay. And I just go through and I grab parts of the plant up through the soil, and it tends to work well for me. There you go. Alright, so these come up. Again, these volunteer. They make for a good green manure. We'll just go with it back to being on my wrist. Alright, so that area is pretty much cleared. There is some chervil there that probably isn't going to live, so I think I'm just going to cover it up. Alright, so all of this is good. I'm going to just lay these over it. And that'll keep it a little bit more moist. These will dry up and they do shrivel up, but it's fine. If you don't have this, you can use, you know, hay or straw or whatever you can find. Okay, so I'm going to take out these poppies, see what else is under there, and then I do need to dig out this blackberry. I'm going to give that to a friend. Looks like it goes for quite a ways. Alright, so let's see. This is planted over there. See how far it goes. It does have spines. Oh, maybe it's not. It's not planted over there. It's this one way over here. Okay. Alright. Let's go dig that up. Alright, so that blackberry all the way over there is rooted somewhere. Oh, actually it's over here somewhere. Should have brought my gloves, huh?
Is it a spiky?
Yeah. Alright, here's part of it. This is the one that went over into the bush over here. Okay, I think I found the bottom of it. Alright, it's right there. Alright, so it's underneath this leaf. Where was it? There's the base right there. So I'm gonna dig a little further out. And you can tell this is a really, really good bed of how easy that shovel went in. But this has been there for, I think, a couple years, so it might be kind of hard to get out.
You're not gonna hit water lines?
No. Good point, though. See, there's the water line right there.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at. I go like, I thought you said there's no water lines.
No, I'm not going to hit the water line.
Okay.
All right. This is many more branches than I thought it did. All right, so there is a water line here. We're not gonna break it, but, whoops. Just broke the bed. No, it's just a block. I can put it back on later. Shorts were also a good plan. All right. So I'm gonna try and get underneath it. And
where are you going to put it?
I'm going to be mailing this to someone.
Oh.
I'm going to cut it back first.
Going to leave it somewhere?
Yeah, look, there's some new growth right there. They can't see, but
I mean, it's going to live somewhere.
yeah. But we're gonna cut off a lot of this growth first.
It looks pretty healthy.
It's very healthy. All right, so here is that ginormous thing. I am going to cut it back because this is going to be mailed to someone. So it looks like I could even split this up into a couple pieces. Here's some new growth right here, some new growth right there. And blackberries grow up here. Blackberries grow from cuttings as well, and blackberries are a little different than raspberries as I understand it, in that if the tip, if I can find the tip, if the tip of this touches the soil, it will start roots. So that's how the brambles get so big, is because they're going like this, they get too heavy, they fall over, and then they plant themselves, and then that goes up and then over and plants itself again. So one of those brambles might even just be one plant. But look how huge this is. All right, here's the lucky person who's getting this in the mail. He just put it in the ground, that's it. All right, so here's that beet that I pulled up that was next to the chard. You can see how big the root is here. And while you could eat this, it's going to be very woody, so you can try, but I can eat the leaves or I can give it to the animals, so there you go. Alright, so this bed is prepared. It needs to have a little bit more coverage on it. I'll probably add some hay. Because that's what I have, but that is now ready to plant. All right, so I showed you guys the one bed. The rest of them are going to be just the same. I am going to add rabbit manure into some of the beds, and especially the one over by Parmesan, and that's the only other thing I'm going to add to Amend. So there you go. Thank you for watching, and next video is going to be all about planting. Exciting. Alright, if you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. If you are not already subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. If you do something different than I do to prep a bed, put it in the description. I want to know. I want everybody to know how people do it. There's tons of different ways to do it, and that way people will know how other people are doing it, and they'll be able to choose for themselves based on their own soil types and age of the bed and all that. Now, my beds, I don't have any new beds this year. My beds are all fairly established, and therefore they don't need a whole lot. And if your beds are newer, then they do need more help along the way. I would say beds mature between about 3 years and 5 years, that's about when you're going to start seeing production kick up and quality of the plants kick up. And that's just because they've established a good biome in there. They have the mycorrhizae has their own pathways, and especially if you cut things at the surface instead of pulling out the root. Now I know I did just pull out the root of the beet, but sometimes you have to do that. But it has those highways established already, and it has all of those needs. It has all of the nutrients and all of the requirements. So, all right, share this with someone who wants to know more about gardening, wants to know about how to prep a garden bed, and thank you for watching and enjoy the day.